Yeah. Okay. So I want to welcome you guys to this training. We're going to go over ParentSquare. So what ParentSquare is, it is replacing Blackboard. There is no more Blackboard. So all communications with parents and eventually students, we're still working on connecting that to it, will be happening through ParentSquare. It is I don't know if anyone else has heard of ParentSquare before, but it is used by a lot of other districts. This isn't just something that just popped up over the summer and we decided to use it. Ventura Unified, I know Ojai uses it. I know a few other, I think Oxnard is using it as well. So it is something that is been used readily available to teachers. And yes, it does replace Remind for those that, and so you don't have to use that anymore. But in the same sense along those lines is when it comes to this communication, there are a few things that we're going to cover to kind of like the do's and don'ts with ParentSquare. Same with, they're going to sound similar to Remind, but and how we use Blackboard. So we'll go over those. We'll take a look at what it looks like on your guys' end. I'll even show you what it looks like on the parents' end, so that way you guys can kind of get a feel for that. You guys there are plenty of resources available. I did not make resources because ParentSquare has everything step by step for everything. They've broken it down, and I'll show you for parents, for teachers, and for admin. So there's nothing really for me to create, which is nice. So we will get started here. Oh, one coming in. All right. So on our homepage, I just wanted to first let you guys know that I spent a big chunk of the summer too on starting to clean up the website because it was just needed some cleaning up. You see all the queue. We now have an enrollment tab for parents to enroll their students. All the videos are up. I'm working on one more video for Spanish for pre-enrollment, but everything else is up there. Parent tab has all the resources that parents are ever going to use, students, and then obviously you guys. Just be aware if there is something that you guys notice that you want in the staff portal, please let me know. And everyone that deals with websites knows websites are not static. They are always changing. So it's a full-time job just to keep up with website design and information and all that stuff. So, but if there is something that you feel like all the staff, because this goes to all staff, that needs a link to, please let me know. But again, your payroll portal, all that stuff is in here for you guys. And I'm still working on cleaning up a few other things. So, so let's go. I don't know how many people have already logged into ParentSquare. There should be most of you guys, but it is still set up to the Outlook email address. It did not migrate over, so we are working on cleaning that up. But you should be able to go in and make some of those corrections once you get in. But just going to parentsquare.com. If you don't know your password, just hit the forgot password, and it will send it to you. Hopefully, it gets migrated over and sends it to your new Gmail account. So this is obviously my the admin account here. We're going to switch it over to the high school, so you guys can take a look. This is what the admin at the high school will see. There is a way we can to obviously for announcements, everything you need. It is very straightforward. This is not like something that's very complicated. Just put it out there. But there are a few little do's and don'ts when it comes to using ParentSquare. But yours should look pretty close to the same. You will not see obviously the admin tab here, and you're not going to see this alerts and notices. You will see posts and messages, and this will look the same for you guys. So you will see what the district sends out. You will see if your site, which looks like your site has not sent anything out yet. Looks like it's from me or from Maricela. But as far as any correspondence that goes out to parents, when your admin sends it out, you will see it here. So my one, there's only a couple rules I kind of like to point out. Is the main one is we want to be careful on what we send out to parents. And I'm not just talking about how we say something or anything like that. I'm talking about sending out announcements. If it applies to the district, let the district send it out. If it applies to the whole school, let the site admin send it out. And if it applies just to your students, which you only have access to send to just your parents in your classes, but you want to be careful on how much you send out, because right now, before the parents get on, if we have all their information, if we have their email, we have a cell phone, then what ends up happening is there are 4 notifications that will go out to parents. They will get an email, they're going to get a text, they're going to get an alert if they have the app on their phone, and they could get a voicemail from the district office or from the site. So we want to be careful, because let's just say, for example, we know a lot of families, they have multiple kids. If they have even let's say 2 kids at the high school, and they're getting the same alerts from all 3, think of that 4 times every class times 3. That's a lot of notifications those parents are going to get. And I'll show you on my phone here in a second what the parent side looks like, so that way, I mean, you can turn them off. But just be aware, the parents can get really overwhelmed with the amount of notifications that come out. Just like I did when my kids' district, when Ventura Unified went on with ParentSquare, that when we got hooked up, they were adding calendar invite or calendar events in it. And every time they added a calendar event, it would send me a notification. And apparently they decided to put the whole year's notification calendar events in like 2 days. So my phone just blew up until I shut it all off. So just be aware, we want to always be respectful of what's going on. Parents, like I said, parents can turn those off, or they can turn it to a setting where it'll all come in at once. But we don't know that. You guys have no control over changing that on parent side. The parents have to go into their settings to do that. So you don't have to worry about any of those little things. And on top of that, if a parent comes to you and says, my email address is wrong, or my phone number, I'm not getting it, and they look in here and the phone number is wrong, make sure that tell them to contact the office, because they have to change it in queue. If you were to go in, or I was to go into ParentSquare and try to change it, it'll override that night. So everything is connected to queue. So just be aware when it comes to anything updates, it all starts with queue, or in your guys' case, it all starts with escape for HR. And I recommend you guys take a look at the email addresses. It actually asks you to verify the email address and phone numbers, because I went into one teacher this morning. I won't say the teacher's name, but it was elementary, and I noticed that her Gmail, it said her first and last name at ygmail.com or ymail.com. So we're not going to be able to send stuff to her. So those are things that we want to be able to make sure we update, so that way we have the best communication possible for parents. So as far as also being careful with posts, we don't want to repeat a lot of information. And we also want to be careful of personal information. So please don't send a message out to all parents, like putting a kid's name on there. So like, let's say I'll say happy birthday to, Justin Smith, and put his name out there, and all the stuff, because we want to protect people's information. Give an example. I had one of my youngest was in kindergarten. The teacher sent out literally printed off the list of every kid in the class's first name and last name and birthday, and gave it to every parent. So that way all the parents knew when the birthdays were coming, so they could have birthday cards sent. Like, it made me cringe, but like those things we cannot do. We always, the number one priority with us is protecting these kids' personal information. So before you send out any kind of message, just be aware, like, is there any personal information that can be used against these kids? So, and anything and everything is used. So we want to be very clear and careful on that. Okay, so I'm going to go over what it looks like to post. I know it's going to sound like this is totally easy, and I don't know why I need to learn about this, but I want to show you guys. So under, you guys will have this new post option. You click on it, basic stuff. Obviously, you're going to, here is what, move the picture around. Let's just say this is obviously from the site level, but you guys will have, once your master schedule is created, you guys will see your classes in here. You'll see the names of each class right here. So let's just say this is, I'm going to send out this post, and let's say this is your first period, this is your second period, and here's your third period. And you guys will see that you'll have parents. You guys shouldn't see staff, but you guys can send it to parents. We are working on adding students to this, but for now it's just to the parents. So you'll make sure that's checked. You'll put your subject in, whatever you want. And this is pretty straightforward. Again, if you're putting pictures, just be careful of what those pictures are. We have to, if kids are AUP, so the annual use policy, if the parents have declined that the kids' pictures be used, then we have to be careful of what kind of pictures we put in here. So just be aware of that. And if there's any like videos, you can insert videos. This is pretty straightforward. There's not much, nothing too crazy on this. Over here, this is where send at user preference time, instant or digest. So what this means, digest means that they've opted to where, as you can see here, there's 2,124 teacher or parents that have went to digest. So that way, this message will only go out in the evening time. So it'll all come out at once. So this is kind of a good idea for parents. So that way they're not being bombarded all day long with messages. So it doesn't drive them crazy. But there's always the exception to the rule. We all know that it's not always cut and dry with school. So this is for if it's like a message about, hey, your homework tomorrow, whatever, it will be sent out in the evening to remind them. But this case, this one right here, send instantly. So as you can see, the numbers have changed. It's going to send 2,213 instantaneous messages out to these parents, to my classes. And the reason why this is here is, say for the district office or the site admin would use this, because this is for like a lockdown. Obviously, we don't want to use this one for a lockdown because the parents aren't going to know about it till 5 o'clock tonight, even though their kids are probably going to text them and tell them they're having fun in lockdown. So you want to, this is to override any of those options for parents. So that way they're getting the message right away. This one, I would recommend this one. So let's say you have a calendar in this. If you are posting stuff to the calendar, please use this one, because otherwise they will get a notification every time you add something to the calendar. And again, it will drive you crazy for that. So down here, you can schedule posts. So like Justin, think of sports. You don't want to be on this thing on Sunday nights or whatever, any kind of sport event or activity. You can schedule the post, so that way it reminds them the night before. So like over the weekend, you guys don't have to do it, but you can schedule on Fridays to go out Sunday night to remind them for the next day. So this is kind of a cool feature. You can create multiple ones. So if you have tests on Fridays, you can schedule them for every Thursday night to go out, remind them that they have a test tomorrow to study, things like that. But again, we want to be mindful of how many we are sending out to these parents. because you know eventually they will shut it down if they are tired, if they just get bombarded nonstop with this stuff. So okay. Obviously, you're going to save as a draft. So if you're going to keep working on it there, and you can view it in the preview mode. Any course, I'm sorry, I'm going to check the chat. I'm going to check I'm just now checking the chat. Sorry. I know it's all the remind, so you don't need to use remind anymore. And let's see, what do you guys say about OneDrive? Yeah, so OneDrive content is, they made a copy of it and sent it into your Google Drive, but your OneDrive is still there. They didn't
shared.
Huh?
But not the shared. My Math 2 shared folder is not in my Google Drive.
It's not on your Google Drive, so we'll have to take a look at that. You might have to, they might have to reshare it to your new Gmail account, because I know some things were not moving over, like anything in your calendar is not moving over to your Google Calendar because they don't migrate well. You'd have to manually export it as a file and then re-upload it to get it in it. Sometimes it's more of a pain to do it that way than just to do it manually. So just with your question about personal phone numbers, that you don't have to have it. I mean, they do want it. I know HR purposes, they want that stuff. But you can, inside ParentSquare, you can turn it off to send you a notification. So that way you're not getting the text messages. Because if you download the app and you allow alerts on the app, it'll do that. But yeah, I had to shut off my text because I was getting the text and the alerts pop up on my phone. You know, just those two alone can drive you crazy. So you can manage those inside. You can send messages just to one parent. You can just type in the kid's name, and it should, because you're sending it to the parents of that one student, it will send it to that student there. Oh. They are slowly moving everyone should have a copy of their OneDrive over. And again, shared stuff, resend it, so that way the link is there. Because I know with anything in a shared folder, either Outlook or Gmail, once you break that link, so like, you know how if you make a copy from your shared folder and put it into your Google Drive, you break that link so it doesn't update it. So I'm pretty sure that would be the reason, is because if you moved anything in your shared folder, you're breaking the link, and now it's not going to share anymore. So okay. Yeah, so again, you might want to have the people who have shared it. That's why let me bring it up real quick, and we'll also cover this in the Google training today too. But one way with Google, do a shared, don't do shared folders, do shared drives, so that way it's a little bit easier. I know most of you guys are putting shared drive on here, so I'm taking you guys know the difference between a shared folder and a shared drive. But you want to make sure that you guys, if you do a shared drive, if that one person leaves, it doesn't get rid of the folder. If you do a shared folder, the original owner, if they leave, they take that folder with them, and then you lose it. So just be aware of that. That's why I say departments, you want to do shared drives because people are moving around all the time. So just be aware you want to keep the shared drive going instead of a shared folder. Now, let's see. Yeah, Natasha, so this completely replaces Blackboard. Blackboard is shut down, so even if you try to use it now, it's not going to work. So it does replace everything there. Yes. And Gloria, all the parents are able to reach you through the text messages. So that's why using the app on your phone or the desktop version works well. They don't even know that where you're at. So you're not giving them your personal cell phone number, like that. You're going through the app to communicate with parents. So. And Natasha, to log in, it's just ParentSquare.com. There's no specific link to it. And if you can't get in, try do the forgot password. It's probably going to be your Outlook email, and we'll see if hopefully it sends it to your new Gmail account. We can send out invites. So if you want to, maybe you guys have the option to send that out. I'll have to take a look on the teacher level, but I know admin level, they can send out invites. The only downside is we have to be careful because obviously if parents don't even know about this, they might think it's spam and delete it. So we might have to make it a priority, like encourage them to remind them about ParentSquare, just so they become aware of it. And again, I think I mentioned this in the beginning, but if not, we want to be careful in the way we word how we want parents to use this. So for example, we cannot, like a back to school night or whatever, we cannot tell parents, you have to use ParentSquare. I will not talk to you any other way, because now you're making it mandatory. We always use this as optional. You don't have to use this. If you prefer to me just email you directly, then okay, but we can't make this a mandatory thing for parents. So it just comes down to how you word it. Everything is done through Q. So if they want an email address in ParentSquare, then there is an option where they can put it in, and then it says waiting for approval. But then the office staff has to approve those email addresses. But it should go into Q first, since everything is connected to Q. To make sure that they contact the school office to update that information. And this is another cool way to make sure that we have all updated, because data is very messy. So I don't think you can, Tasha, access to see the parents' email addresses. You can go into Q and it will be there as well. There might be a way. I have not seen it on like I said, on the teacher level. If someone is in their ParentSquare and they can look up I don't think your rosters are done yet. So I don't know if you're going to have students in there in your classes. So you might not be able to see it. You should be able to log into Q. I believe they have opened it up, but like I said, your master schedule is not done yet, so you might not see much in there. Cheryl's very careful when that stuff gets opened up, so. Yeah, so the emails, it has been hard. So I have videos on the website to help parents like create a Gmail account. We want to make sure that we can get any way possible. We want to get as many kind of touches out there for parents. So that way, if they don't have a smartphone or whatever, then that way that we can get them to the email. We all know snail mail is not the way to go really anymore. So. Any questions? I'm doing a lot of talking. I want to make sure I answer any questions you guys might have.
Adam, for some strange reason, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. For some strange reason, I'm going to parentconnect.com and it's giving me like a funky site, and it's not taking me to the one that you were showing us.
All right, you're going to ParentSquare.com?
Okay, hold on. Let me try that one more time. And did you say to click on forgot password instead of clicking on login
Yeah,
with Google?
yeah,
Okay.
because it's set up to your Outlook right now. So you'll probably get an error message if you click on the Google.
That works better. I found that I already did it on the ParentSquare. I just logged in from the email he sent us. He sent us like a little link on one of our emails to get to this meeting. That there's like a hyperlink that'll just send you to the ParentSquare if you can't find it too.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
So again, if you guys need groups, I don't think at the teacher level that it's allowing you guys to create your own groups. So like if sports, any kind of activities, clubs, I don't think it's allowing teachers to create their own groups. So if that's the case, let your admin know. And if we need to, we can start creating some of the groups so that way we have to mess with it to get you guys access. So to email to them, because really it's just set up to queue right now. So you're only going to have access to the kids in your class.
I just logged in under my old Hotmail account. Are we
Yep.
going to be able to change that?
You should be able to go into
Under-
your settings under your My Account. When you click on your name in the top right corner, click on My Account and see if you're able to edit that information. That's funny. I didn't even know you guys used Hotmail before. I guess that was way before I even came around.
Adam, and when we click on forgot password, I could enter my email, the Santa Paula Unified one, or should I just, yeah? Okay.
It's supposed to be, it looks like it's still set up to your Outlook. So the Santa Paula Unified.
I don't see that I can change it.
Customize settings. See, we're still needing to clean this up.
Notification language, edit. It says correction pending. I actually put
Yep.
the correction in last week and it
Okay,
hasn't
so
gone through. How long should it take?
I'll have to check on that because I don't know if office managers know about correcting those.
So I'm editing it again. And that's what happened. The verification code never came to me. I tried
Okay.
this last week.
I'll have to mess with it and see. I'll take a look at your account and see what we can do.
Okay. But it's going to be for everybody if everything was set up under the Hotmail and that
Yeah.
account's going away.
Yeah,
How
I
long
know.
will they migrate?
I don't think there's a cutoff date right now for Sally, so I think they're just letting it go until we can get it cleaned up. Just like one thing we're working on cleaning up is the old emails. If you haven't noticed, if you tried emailing another teacher, that teacher might have 3 emails now. The Outlook, the old email, and the new Gmail. So we're working on cleaning those things up. But
I got the verification code and put that in and it still says correction pending. So I don't know. There's
Yeah,
nothing
'cause it
else
has
to
to
do on
come-
mine.
it has to come from the district or site level or district level. So I put you down, so I'll take a look at that afterwards and see if I can see how to accept the changes for that. So,
Because everybody's going to need to do that if we're going to eventually get rid of our Hotmail accounts. We'll need to change all of our ParentSquare logins.
yeah, and I know Sally's working on maybe
Thank you.
doing it as a mass change too. So hopefully we can do that.
Okay.
One by one. Okay.
Question, is the Outlook gonna get shut down at some point? Because there's still this whole confusion where we're still getting like email through our Outlook, but now it's getting shifted to our Gmail.
Yes.
Like,
So
at some point, it's going to be like, no more Outlook. We are now all Gmail.
we are all Gmail. So what's happening right now is think of it, I would say, think of it, it's the same like in the sense of like Google. Outlook is an app inside of Microsoft 365. It's not a whole program itself. So we shut off Microsoft or Office 3 or Outlook, but you guys still have access to OneDrive, Word, PowerPoint, all that stuff. That will not change. You're keeping that stuff. We know teachers still use it. But because even when we first started when we created the last Gmail, parents or teachers were like, why do we have to use Outlook and this Gmail account? And it gets confusing. So they decided to change it to just having just Gmail, because most teachers are just using Gmail now. They're not using Outlook very much. So
now, even with this, when I was logging into this, for people that are going to start doing it on the ParentSquare, you still put santapaulaunified.org, but it sends it to your SP1
and
Gmail account.
Yep, and they set that forward.
Still?
Eventually, you'll need to change it, but for right now, IT has set it up to where it's forwarding all your emails that are going to your Outlook to go to your Gmail. So that way you guys still get all the emails, because obviously trying to go into every preference at every program you've ever used Santa Paula Unified at and change it all at once, it would be a nightmare. So they've just forwarded it. So when you guys see that you're still getting messages from Santa Paula, the email Santa Paula Unified, try to notify them. So if it's like a program or anything that you're part of, just make sure you correct those. Eventually that will stop as far as the forwarding goes. But I don't have a time frame when it's going to stop. It's probably going to be a while, just to make sure that teachers don't lose any emails. So you don't right now, if you were to go back into your Outlook, it's going to show your emails there, but it's not going to have anything that, like, there's no new emails. It's all shut off. So you can still access your OneDrive, all that other stuff, but your Outlook, you won't be able to. But I answered your question there. Like I said, we're going to answer a lot of these questions as well with the Google training today. So that way, because I know there's lots of stuff going on. People were really worried about losing their files. So, but I think I haven't heard one person say that they've lost files. Like I said, it's been moved over. There's copies, but no one said they've lost anything yet.
Adam, does ParentSquare translate to Spanish?
Yes, it will. If you go, let me show it here. So I can't really see what these things. There it is. Down here, edit translation. You can click on it and you'll see what the translation is. It will translate it for you, and then you can obviously adapt it if the Google. I don't want to call it Google Translate, but the translation feature is off. You guys can adjust that. And same with from the district level or site level, there is an option to record. If you want to do a voicemail, you can record the English, and then you have to have someone else record the Spanish version to send out. It won't do the audio version translation for you.
Adam, I do have a question. I know on Blackboard, if you were to send a message and you select like an English one, depending on what the parent selected for their language preference, it would send the appropriate one. Will this one do the same, or do we have to?
Yes, it will do the same. It's going off of the parent's home language selection. Right now, I've only seen English and Spanish. So for those other parents, we'll have to take a look at those. I don't know off the top of my head if we have any other parents that with other languages, but if so, just let us know and we'll figure it out. And this will be connected just like Blackboard. They are connecting it to attendance. So when the kids get marked absent, the parents will be notified. So you don't have to worry about that going away. think anything else you guys use Blackboard for that for that, but it's pretty much, it's just more, I think this is a little bit more user friendly than Blackboard when it comes to those messages. And, I haven't heard anything bad about it, and I use it with my kids, and I've communicated with the teachers through it. So I would say you probably have to keep this up, and if there's email, obviously, just depends on what the parents prefer. So
We can email staff and parents. That option is there for us as well.
the staff, okay, good. And again, just be mindful of when you email the staff. You know, it's kind of like being in a group text of 50 people. It'll start to drive you crazy when people say, okay, thank you. And it's constantly blowing up your phone. So we just always want to be mindful of people's tolerance to notifications.
So I cannot send it to an individual staff through here. I just tried.
Okay. Again, if it is like just a one teacher, I would just use Gmail. This is more
Okay.
For almost like mass communication. So said with the other one, if you're going to send it to the teacher, oh, this was in the other training this morning. They wanted to send it to all 8th grade science teachers. That's great, but you don't use ParentSquare for that. You go into Google and under contacts, create your group and create, foreign language department or PE department or whatever, create those groups and put the teachers in it. And now you'll have that as your option. So you don't have to manually put in every single teacher. So, and I will be covering that today as well, just to make sure you guys can create your own groups, because we don't want to type out every teacher's name every time we want to send it to the department. So
Adam, remind me what training is that and what time?
It's just a Google training. So I put down 2 options. I'm gonna have to send out a new email to all the teachers. I put down option 1 and option 2. You can go to either one. They're going to be both the same thing. We just gave 2 different options for teachers if they have meetings, whatever. So it's just going to be going over Google and some updates, a few tips and tricks that I can offer teachers to kind of help hopefully streamline it. We will be going over Google Classroom, because I know Maida's already had the question with the classes. If you've gone in, we're going to play with that a little bit more, but it is connected to Q now. So you will see all your classes, and the names that are in Q are going to be labeled as your Google Classroom names. So we're going to play with that a little bit and try to streamline it for you guys. I mean, the upside to Q is connecting it to Q is you guys don't have to worry about rosters and dropping kids and adding kids. It's already there. The downside is you lose some of the control as far as making it pretty. So,
Adam, I do see the 2 meetings for the Google migration update, but they are separated by grade level. Does it matter if we attend one or the other, or do you want to keep that?
I thought I took that. Well, I took that off, but you can go to either one. I think I just kind of separate them, just try to. But like I said, I'm gonna go over the same stuff. I think it was more just so that way we didn't have, like in this group, I didn't want 50 or 100 people in it and then trying to manage everyone and answer all the questions. I want to make sure you guys had your chance to ask your questions. So go to either one.
And then you did say you were going to send new links for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll send it to all?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm hoping I went back far enough. Natasha, I got your question about when will the website be loaded with our correct emails. It changes overnight. So if it's updated in Q, now what Maida did was saying it's waiting for approval. That is waiting for someone else to do it. But if you contact the office managers and they fix it in Q. Then, which you guys are actually through Escape, so they might have to talk to HR to fix that. But then once it's updated in there, then it's automatically switched over at night, and ParentSquare is updated as well. So like I said, everything is based out of Q and Escape. Nothing, if you change anything in any other programs, it's going to override every night. So just be aware of that.
I'm sorry, Adam, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. Sorry, I was having connection issues. So I think my question was really like, because everyone was saying that they were having all these issues because ParentSquare is connected to our Outlook email address. What I was asking is, I don't anticipate needing to send parents emails immediately upon the beginning of school. And I just wanted to know, is there a point where you're going to actually fix the ParentSquare so it's connected to our school Gmail? So I can just wait to log in after that point? Or do I have to do all this complex email changing stuff that everybody was talking about, like no matter when I log in?
If you want to wait, that's fine. I know Sally's working on that, so to make that migration and clean it all up. That way, we thought it was supposed to switch over when we switched it last week, but for some reason it's not. So I know they are working on that. That's one of the top things on our list right now, is to clean that part up.
Yeah, then I don't feel the urgent need to be sending parents messages right away, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then someone else also just mentioned that like something about those Google Classroom invitations. You know, I declined and deleted all of those because they were just junking up my Google Classroom class page because I make my own Google Classrooms. No one told us about these things. So can you please talk about it? Because I already deleted them all.
Yeah. I'll have to see what happens when you decline them, how we can get them back. So the only difference would be by accepting them. I mean, the kids are going to be in it, and they are, since they're connected to Q, it's always going to be updating it. If you create your own classroom for it, I guess you can do that as well. But the downside of that is obviously you're manually managing all the students.
So the students that are supposedly going to be preloaded into those Google Classroom shells that you guys sent out, obviously the students aren't in there right now. When you add the students in on your end, the student, will they still have to accept?
If you guys, and I said this is new, but if you guys had to accept it, I guarantee you the students will have to accept it as well.
So then there makes no difference, because if I put in the student email addresses, they still have to accept it anyway.
Accept it. The only difference will be, again, it will be manually updating with Q. So if the kid drops your class, it'll automatically drop them. But one thing that I mentioned that I will bring up with tech with this is the fact that I'm thinking at it from, if you have a student, let's say 5 months from now in November, and they drop your class, if it's connected to Q, I'm afraid what's going to happen is once it's dropped from Q, you lose all the grades.
That's true.
And you know, people don't give us warnings usually when they say, oh, this kid's going to be dropped in 2 days. You just know, hey, this kid was dropped yesterday. So what I'm afraid is going to happen, and that's on my list too, is to figure out, is this the best scenario for us? Because I think that teachers are not going to like the fact that they lose all their grades if a kid drops. Now, if a kid comes back into your class, from what I've seen with the manual change, is that the kids' grades come right back. But as far as this goes, I have no idea what could happen, because if you guys lose all the grades,
everybody from my department, we were talking about it yesterday, saying like, what are all these random Google Classroom things? And we all deleted them. So, so I mean, we didn't get an email saying like, hey, do this. So I guess it doesn't really make much of a difference. And even though, like, basically what you're saying is, it's more advantageous probably for us to make our own Google Classroom shells with the adding and the dropping, because it's very easy to add the students with Excel import.
Yeah.
It's like takes. So, I mean, that's fine though, right? we can still make our own Google Classroom.
Oh, you should be able to make as many Google Classrooms as you want. The only thing, like that's why again, this is one of my projects, because at the elementary level, it's just as complicated, because even though the kids are in elementary, they are technically still in 6 different classes. They have a ELA, they have a math, they have a science, not science, but social studies. They have different tracks that they're in. So we got to try and clean that up as well. So this is something, like I said, it's on my list. I'm working on to see if we just shut this off.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was okay that everybody deleted them. And it's not like there's going to be a problem, because it was so unexpected.
I would not delete them, just leave them alone for right now. Just don't accept or decline them right now.
But I'm just saying, like, we already did the decline and delete them. Like, we did this on Monday morning.
Yeah, I'll check and see. We'll see what we want to do. I'll talk to Sally and see if we want to keep doing this. If that's the case, then I'll see what we can do if we have to if there's a way to resend stuff out to you guys. But I'll take a look. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't want to work on my own Google Classroom as I have been for the last couple of weeks. If you guys are going to say, oh, you can't use that Google Classroom, you have to use this random one that we assign you.
Yeah. Go that route, but I'll definitely I got to get down and I will let you guys know.
Okay.
I think I was just going to add, I was going to ask her last question as well, Adam. So I haven't received anything from admin or any kind of Google Classroom, but this is the second person I hear that has received it. So I'm thinking, gosh, am I supposed to receive it? Should I be receiving it? Should I notify someone that I haven't received it? Because I haven't received any type of shells from anything.
Again, it all comes down to the tracks and if they've been pushed out. So you might want to check. Maybe I would say wait till the end of the week at least.
Okay.
And see if what's going on there. But for everyone else, you should see the shells popping out. As far as
I did not have all of my classes either. It was just some of them. Okay. And that's why I was like, this is so weird. This is not my class schedule. There's only like 4 classes here. So I was just deleted them.
Yep. Yeah. And so we'll mess with it and see if we can get some answers for it. But there's no reason why you can't create a new class and do it yourself. So
I know, but to her question, like we're going to be working and uploading things, and then I would assume it'd be easy to transfer to a new classroom. It'd like just reuse your post or something, I'm assuming, but still.
Yeah. And again, at this point, I have not heard that you have to use those classes that are coming from Q. But I will get clarification on it and let you guys know. Hopefully today, if I hear, I'll text Sally and see if we can get that resolved. But again, I think it might be a curriculum decision and not a tech decision.
And Adam, did you say that the purpose was so that grading could be imported into Q?
Well, grading, yeah, I haven't even messed with this part of it yet. Okay. I know before this switch to connecting to Q with Google Classroom, you could move your grades from Google Classroom to Q. It was very difficult. I'll tell you right now. I mean, even tech savvy people were having a difficult time because it was time consuming to move it over. But as far as the migration, like being able now what it looks like, I have to play with it. I don't have the answer for that. So
Adam, I had done that last year, the grade importing. So I downloaded it from Q. I downloaded it from Google Classroom and then uploaded it to Q. And you had to do it obviously period by period. But the way that the students were mapped was based on their email address. So if the students' email addresses in Q are the correct email addresses, they are the santapaulibusd.org email suffixes that match their login in Google Classroom, then you still have to it came up in our department is we wanted to know, did tech update the student emails in Q? Otherwise, that uploading transfer of grades won't work.
Yes, they did update. I know the students' Gmail accounts are updated. I know the one thing that they are working on that they thought was supposed to switch over with it is their Chromebooks right now. The domain is, as of yesterday when I heard, the domain is still wrong. So if kids are using their Chromebook, they're not getting in. But if they're using a personal device, they can just log in with the new Gmail perfectly fine.
Okay, so then that kind of prompts my next question is this shells from the queue that were like sent to us that I deleted, are those like set to auto transfer grades into queue? And if so, I want those shells back because it is a lot of work to download and upload them. It took a considerable amount of time.
Let me put that list. Like I said, I don't know. And honestly, I got the email saying that, oh, Google Classroom is now connected to Q. Okay.
So that does require us to know that information because that is going to like potentially save teachers hundreds and thousands of hours this year. Because you know, so I need to know. I mean, everybody needs to know because we didn't know what those shells were and we deleted them. So it's very relevant, please.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it and let you guys know what we can, what I find out on that.
If we can't log in, oh, sorry. If we can't log into Q, do we just send another work order or something like that?
Put in contact Christy at the office so that way she can take a look and see what's going on. You should be able, Justin just put in there, you guys can log into Q, the tracks just aren't there yet. And I'm pretty sure Cheryl is waiting to do that, so.
I can see my students in Get More Math, but I can't see them in Q.
Yeah, I have to look because of Get More Math, their program was, I know Yesenia with the data, something's changing, something's different with Get More Math compared to the other programs. But again, your rosters are going to change. You know how the first 2 to 3 weeks of the school year are, we're not even counting the week and a half before school starts. So that the rosters are changing so much that you probably you can't even really base it off of what you see.
But again, they don't have the periods. I know from a district standpoint, they don't care what the periods are, but the teachers care.
Okay.
So everything's getting named, class name with my name at the end, but they're not telling me the period. They have to tell me whether it's period 2 or period 4 math.
For Get More Math.
For class, Google Classroom, for Get More Math, for anything the district does, if they're identifying electronic classrooms, they have to put a period there, because it doesn't do us any good if we don't know which period is. They all look the same to us. They don't look the same to district, but they look the same to us.
Yeah.
It's been a nightmare. It was a nightmare last year, and I just checked and they didn't change it. It's going to be a nightmare again this year.
It's on my list. So I will take a look at it. I want to, obviously, there you go. That's what I was going to think. You can edit the titles in Google Classroom and Clever. So just so you can do that.
We can't edit them and Get More Math.
And Get More Math. Okay, I'll take a look at that and see what we can do to change that. But I do want to respect people's times. It is 11:31 right now. So if you guys, I'm going to stop the pausing and I got to send you this. So I'm going to put this in the chat real quick. So if you guys can fill out that short Google form, it is not asking you to write a whole lot. So just fill it out so that way we know who was here today. And again, we'll have another training later on and I'll send out those links. But if you guys have any questions, please email us at EdTech Support. That email address is still up and running because it sends it to me and it sends it to several other people that need to be on the same page with what's going on. So please send it there. I'm not saying I'm going to ignore your text if people text me, but that just helps the whole department know what is really, keep a pulse on what's going on with you guys. And we want to support you guys as the best way we can. So let us know whatever we can do to help. If there's something that you need fixed, please let us know. We'll do our best to help you guys out. So once you fill out that form, thank you guys for coming, and you can email me anytime. Be sure to help you out.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, Adam. Great work as usual.
Oh, thank you.
Great job.
Good job, Adam.
Thanks, Robert.
Yeah.
Let me know if you need any help.
Yeah, no, we use my kid's school uses ParentSquare in Rio. Wife likes it. It works pretty easy once everyone learns how to do it. Ms. Lozano. Got hit with some questions there, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm fine with. Oh,